thought it was just me. Hey, bro. Um, you all right?
Yeah,
You sure? Cause
yeah.
you look a little stiff.
And sometimes, man, it's just a lot of strength. You mistaking that stiffness for power, bro. So, but yeah, I'm good, man. I'm here
Ah,
with you. So,
okay.
if I'm stiff, then you're the opposite of stiff. So I guess we balance each other out.
You know, that's a backhanded or a blackhanded comment. I'm gonna let that go, and we're gonna start the intro.
Oh wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, batten down the hatches. We'd like to introduce you to the greatest combat sports show bar none. You are now in the Beatdown.
You wanna get beat down?
Let us now introduce you to your host, the Badger, and
I'm gonna take that comment, man. I know you didn't mean well by it, but that's okay. It's a good day. It's Thursday, baby. It's Thursday, baby. That means I don't have to see you till Sunday after this one. So that's okay. And I'm still waiting for my hat. Just want to let you know.
Man, listen, man, it's coming soon, bro. As long as you're waiting, there's always something to look forward to, right?
Wow, that's cold. Hey, you gonna have to clip your girl's toenails. I can hear her walking across your wood floor.
I like them long.
Oh, okay.
Help scratch my legs at night. Okay.
Sound like they could turn the lights off on the wall. It's so long, bro. I'm just, you know what? We're not gonna get into this right now. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We got a special guest on the show. I'm gonna let you. I know you wrote a good intro, and hopefully it doesn't have any cuss words in it. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you introduce our esteemed guest.
Well, yeah. Well, he doesn't need a whole lot of introduction, but I'll give a little bit of backstory. He was one of the first people that really took us up under his wing when we started getting into this whole media thing. He was the guy that showed us the ropes. And since then, he's been consistently showing us a lot of love. But more importantly, if you anybody of combat sports, especially boxing, then you know this man, an original b-boy, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word,
Yes.
bro. So you gonna talk about that too on the platform because this is the
B-boy
beatdown. So we're
standing
gonna
in
talk
my
about
B-boy stance.
beatdown and all that. He got the memorabilia to show it. So without further ado, my friend, our friend, and a friend of the show, Fighter Nation, let's give a warm round of applause for Damon, my guy from Latin Box. What's good, brother?
Hey.
Guys, what's going on, man? Good afternoon.
Listen, it's all about you. Thank you for being here, man.
No, it's not. It's about us, man.
Listen,
For sure, bro. We're glad to have you here, man. It's been a long time coming. We finally caught up to you, man, and you finally caught up to us, so now we can make a little bit of magic happen.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. 12 rounds, bro. Let's do it.
12 rounds.
For sure. So, bro, listen, let's just talk about what's really going on right now. And I know that you probably have a lot of insight. We've talked about this since last week, but we really got into it on Monday. Brother, the tragic story coming out of Puerto Rico of Felix Verdejo.
Yeah.
What is going on there, bro? And what happened? Because this was a guy, by all accounts, that was supposed to be the star, the new heir. He was supposed to pick up where Cotto left off, the new Trinidad. He was the guy. He gets into a motorcycle accident. He's not the same fighter, and now he's an alleged murderer. Bro, give us some feedback on this, man.
Well, it's an issue that just developed the past week, and I personally, as a boxing person, as a writer, remember when Felix signed with Top Rank and when he started fighting for Top Rank at a very young age, a couple of years ago. He was training with trainer Ricky Marquez out of Puerto Rico, and it was an interesting ride. It was an interesting ride watching this young fighter grow in the sport. Decisions were made on his end that only the responsibility of those decisions come from the fighter. And Felix made some decisions on his own that he had full control of. Personally, I liked Felix. I was close to him as far as communication, interviews. He was always a good dude. He was always down to earth. However, we're shocked. We're all shocked. There's I'm angry. I'm upset. It hurts inside because somebody and you watch them do so well in the sport, do the good, the bad, and the ugly because, not trying to fabricate a career. You have good fights, you have bad fights, and, he never ducked nobody. He was trying to do what he needed to do as a fighter. But on what I personally try to do is I try personally, guys, not to get too much into the personal life of the athlete because that's their business.
Right.
Same like
Right, for sure.
me on the media, and I don't want nobody knowing my business. I mean, that's straight up honesty, But it hurts. It's shocking to hear the devastating news and the information that was fed to all of us. What happened in Puerto Rico? I mean, I'm speechless, honestly, man. I'm really speechless. At first, I posted something the other day about it when it broke, because in California, a group out there, they posted it. And then I started following the Telemundo in Puerto Rico, and I started to hear more and more what was happening. And Puerto Rico started to release the court documents, which specifically talk about, what happened. It was just rough for me to process it. It's harder when you know somebody,
Yeah.
It's just harder. And it's sad. It's truly, there's no other word I could use but sad. It's sad and it's a shame. Such a young man, not even 30 years old, just threw his life away.
No.
Or his life is done. But this is. Go ahead, please.
So I have a question for you, bro, because you said something that me and my partner we touched on a little bit on the show the other day. And I'm going to ask you specifically because I think you, more than anybody else that I know of anyway, had a real professional working relationship with Verdejo. I saw a lot of the things you did, a lot of the interviews, a lot of photos. You were around. You have a very close-knit relationship, especially on that with the whole Top Rank side and how that goes. What do you think? Do you think that after the motorcycle accident, that he was the same? Not only as the fighter, but as a young man, because it just seems like after the accident, nothing kind of he got a couple of wins, but he didn't seem like the same guy anymore. He just didn't. And his last loss to Nakataki, I think it was. I was wondering, man, it had to be a lot on a kid who was the prodigal son. I mean, I'm like you, me and my partner were talking about it. HBO was high on Verdejo. He had big time sponsorships. He was the guy. He was marketable. He was everything. And then he has the accident. He's not the same fighter. And then I'm wondering what that transition must have been like for him from a professional aspect, being the star, and now, even before this incident, just kind of falling off a little bit. Can you speak on that?
Well, again, from the outside looking in and watching him grow in boxing and stuff like that, he's totally responsible for his actions. And nobody asked him to leave his trainer Ricky Marquez. That's something he decided on his own. That's something he made a decision as an athlete that he felt in his own, not speaking for him, but that started a process of, you can see how differently his life turned in some ways. And the one thing I remember about Felix is he was very private. Felix was a private dude, and he wasn't really a public person. He was very private. And You know, it's hard to say because I didn't know him at that level where we would have dinner and talk and stuff like that and hang out in
Right.
Puerto Rico. But
Right.
you know, I'm not here, and none of us, of course, we're here to judge him by his mistakes or his faults and things in life. It's just tragic, and I'm so like devastated, you know, for the young lady's family and the loss of that young lady and her unborn baby and the whole situation. It's just shocking. I'm still processing it, man. You know, it's very shocking, you know.
Well,
And I hope it's a lesson to younger fighters when they see life events like this,
yeah.
how
Mm-hmm.
fast things can turn around like that by bad decisions, you know?
Well, switching gears just a little bit because we, like you said, we're not here to judge. We're not here to prosecute. Just looking at information, and that's solely it. We saw a fight this past weekend with a young up and coming fighter, Harris Landy Lara. Uh, were you were you able to catch that fight? And if so, what do you think this actually means for his career?
You know, I had his opponent on my Slip Punches show, Thomas Lamama.
Wow.
And
Lamar.
Thomas Thomas Amana, you know, listen, he's a true young
Mm-hmm.
fighter. Was this the highest level you can go? Yeah, it was. You know, you decide to put a stormtrooper in with a Jedi, that's your problem.
Yeah.
That's your decision to make those decisions. And he was
Wow.
in there with a Jedi. And when he
Mm-hmm.
bring out the boom, you know, he just
Yeah.
said
So
zoom, and that was it.
yeah.
That's all he
Wow.
Yeah.
needed to do. Right?
Wow.
Is there another simple way to explain that?
Mm.
He did a couple of things, and it came from a feint, and then whack, the punch
Wow. Yeah.
came, and he was highly, look at the tape, very comfortable when he threw it. His
Oh yeah.
legs were positioned right. He's big, he's skillful, he's strong, he's confident. What could have went wrong? You know, did I expect a better fight on the other end? Heck yeah, I did. We all did.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because again, it's nice, man, to me when the younger generation starts to say, "Hey, man, now that's what I'm talking about. A real fight for you. Let's do this." You know, that's what we want to see. We want to see you fighting real fighters. But now you're in front of a real fighter, you know? And it just wasn't his night, guys, you know?
So where does
But as
Laura
far
go
as your
from here, though?
question, Lara, you know, that's an interesting question. PBC, you know what? He's still in the mix. There's no question. Lara's still in the mix. You love it, hate it, do whatever you want, spin on it, do whatever you want with it. It's not going to change the fact that the guy still has a punch. He's still in the mix. You know, will we see him in a fight with maybe Charlo? You never know. Will we see him in a fight with Caleb Plant? You never know. You know, there's some good fights there that you can say, hey, wait a second. You know, he's a veteran. You know, it's time. It's time for this now.
You think he'd go to
You know,
68 though?
why wouldn't he? He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's smart. And you know, a big shout out. This is the Cuban boxing team. When I went to Havana, they gave me the shirt from
That's
one
nice.
of the gyms I visit in Cuba. And
Mm-hmm.
the Cuban boxers, you know, they have that pedigree, they have that education. They're very intelligent fighters, very intelligent fighters. And Lara is just an example that, you know, you go under the tree with the most shade, man. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this then. Do you think that Lara will ever go back down to 54, because I saw a couple of people or even a thread where they were saying, hey, will we get to see Lara versus Jermel, who's at 54, or will we see Lara against Jamal, who was at 60? Both were training partners of his for years when they were both training under Ronnie Shields out there at Plex in Houston. So, excuse me, do you see either one of those fights happening for Lara, or do you think he kind of goes another way?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I sure hope so. And again, when it comes to guys like Lara in the game of boxing, in the sport of boxing, or what have you, you got to give credit when credit's due. Um, Lara, his stock hasn't dropped as far as I'm concerned. I think he has very good stock in the sense that he's not going to have a problem getting a big fight or another fight. He's proven that. He sent a message to everybody, the boxing writers, the fans, Ring Magazine, all of us. Hey, boom, I'm still here, and I'm not leaving anytime soon. So that's a good message. That's good for boxing. It's great for boxing.
This question is gonna seem a little bit out of scope, but I'm gonna try to bring it back in as quick as possible. With the changes going on in Cuba, with the different countries like the U.S., Europe, Germany, all trying to get them to break with their tradition and open up the country. Do you think that will end up, if it does happen, do you think it will be a detriment to their boxing organization, their boxing pedigree going forward?
Well, I mean, I know personally, I don't have the answers to that question. That's a question that, you know, um, it's above my pay grade. As far as what the government does and what happens with GUA and the athletes and what have you. It's a situation that again, personally, I love the Cuban athletes. I love the Cuban people. A lot of my boys, a lot of my friends, are Guano, and it's something that it's tough. Gua goes through a lot of stuff like everybody else, man. Same like on the Puerto Rican Mexican end. We go through stuff like anybody else. The brothers, man, y'all go through stuff like anybody else. Everybody got their share of, man. Can't even explain, bro. For real, we can't even hit that note yet. Not on this show.
Well, happy Cinco de Mayo to you on the Mexican side.
Happy Cinco de Mayo,
Yeah.
man. Yes. We got Billy Joe Saunders getting in Canelo's head, man. The ring is too big. We need to make the ring smaller, or I'm not fighting.
Yeah, listen,
That's what went down yesterday, man. You hear that
I was
stuff?
about to go there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly though, listen, here's the thing. I think it's great marketing for the fight, because I don't think the fight was ever in jeopardy of not happening. I mean, flew halfway around the world. You're going to get the money. This is the biggest payday you ever going to get. And by the way, this is your dream fight. You want to fight Canelo because you know what this will do for your legacy. So I don't think that the fight was in any danger of actually being called off. But I think that, like I told my partner yesterday, I think for at least for Canelo, who's outside of the clenbuterol incident, has always been someone that's kind of been held in high regard as far as how he handles himself from a professional perspective. So when you get Canelo to blurt out what he blurted out yesterday when he was being antagonized by Billy Joe's team,
What'd he say?
it does build up a little bit of intrigue, because we've never heard Canelo speak like that before.
What'd he say?
So it's like, okay, these guys might really, this is going to be a real fight. So I'm actually intrigued, man.
What'd he say? What Canelo say?
I can't say that on the air, yo.
Yeah, I can't see him. So he referred to a woman's private parts.
Oh.
That's what he did. So, yeah.
But
Yeah, so-
Billy Joe Saunders, he pulled out that Tyson Fury card, man, and he's
yeah.
keeping it real. He's doing what he needs to do, because make no mistake about it. Listen, Billy Joe Saunders is a real fighter, and that's what I like about the fight. It's a real fighter versus Canelo. I look at a couple of factors, guys. I look at the fact that in the last two fights Canelo had, he did not knock out his opponent. Okay,
Nope.
One went to a decision, the other one went to a decision. So He's going in a fight with a real strong guy, a guy that's very elusive, that moves all over the place. But again, we're dealing with Canelo. We're dealing with a guy that his level is just so much fun to watch. I mean, you can't make a mistake about that. He's just so much fun because he gets in there, but the intelligent Canelo comes out. He finds a way to adjust and then execute, and he does it so well. It's fun to watch. You know.
You and I agree. I said it earlier on the show yesterday. I can't wait. At first I wasn't big on the fight, but I've already let my wife know I'm gonna be sitting in front of the television with my homemade nachos and probably a couple of cervezas because I can't wait to see that fight. That fight's gonna be, I think, gonna be a lot better than I thought originally. You talked about going to Cuba and being with the team. What was that like? What was that culture like? What was the feeling of being with that group like? And do they also have women on the team there?
Well, when I went to the gym, I didn't meet the whole team. I just met like two members of the Cuban national team that were there in the gym, and there were other fighters training that afternoon. It was a gym that was set up outside. It wasn't indoors.
Okay.
And it was nostalgia, man. It was nice, bro. You know, to watch the sport of boxing in the Cuban culture and have the fighters just doing what they're doing and just loving the moment, loving the experience. I always wanted to go there and visit Cuba. I got to do it when before the C-19 happened. Of course, there was cruises leaving from Tampa to Cuba, and that's how I got to go. I went with my wife and we went on the cruise.
You took your wife to Cuba.
Yes. So one of the main things I did besides the boxing was I went and visit this gentleman there that's one of the biggest well-known cigar men on the island. That he makes cigars and I had to get down and get my Cuban cigars, because I love my cigars,
Yeah.
So just the fact that I got to experience that myself, that was very gratifying. That was fun.
So before we get into the real boring questions about why you got into boxing and all your fun stories, I do want to ask you this, bro. As a member of the media and someone that's traveled the globe and has been doing this for a long time, what do you make of what the Paul brothers are doing in boxing?
You have to ask me that question, bro.
I know, right?
I got to.
That's a way to treat family.
Media professionals on here, so we got to
Man,
get a media professional.
I thought you were my boy, man.
I know,
man. We gotta.
Nah, you know what it is. Look,
man.
you know what it is, man. I'm one of them old school dudes, and sometimes it's hard to adjust to the whole Broadway entertainment look at what's happening to boxing. And that's hard for me, man. It's hard for me to learn a culture when I was younger of b-boying and dancing and knowing the truth in the Old Testament behind that culture of doing it. And there are boxers that are raised that way in boxing. And then to look at break dancers, power dancers, that spin on their nose, you know what I'm saying? Things that you've never thought you'll ever see they're doing, and it's hard. It's hard, but in the sport, it's all about entertainment. It's all about money. People trying to get paid, and you can't knock anybody for their hustle, man. Everybody's trying to get their hustle,
I think part of the issue that I've run into that I've heard, and I could see it from that standpoint, is it's like you just developed it's not even, I can't even use that as an example. You've got people who work their whole lives, like you said, to be boxers, to be fighters. They've sacrificed, they've given up, they've done everything they need to do. And then just because you made a name for yourself on YouTube, you get to challenge people who have no business in the ring in the first place, even less than you do. And people are starting to now consider that you may be a fighter. You just may have blossomed late. You're trained by some of the most notable guys in boxing, and now you're able to knock these people out who have no business in a ring. And it's like stealing thunder. Like, he has no desire to win a title. Like most people, when they get in the sport, they feel like winning a world championship is going to take your family from where they are and put them where you believe they need to be. He skipped all that. It's like he hit free parking on Monopoly. He was able to skip Baltic Avenue, Pennsylvania, Boardwalk Park. And they had houses and hotels on them. He was able to skip all that you got to pay in to get to the prize.
And again, that's the Broadway wrestling.
Ooh, come on, don't do that to me.
However you want to word it, way of looking at it. It's a different format.
I get it.
As an old school guy, I'm straight up for the boxers, the males, the females, the USA boxing amateurs. Those are my folks. Those are my people. I keep it real. I don't even hesitate in saying that. You know what I mean? It satisfies me more sitting ringside, not just shooting a fight and photography, but just writing about a fight and watching these young men and women trade shots and go at it and put their hearts out there.
Yeah.
And do it for the love of the sport and become champions. Even on my end, you guys know I give opportunity to the younger generation of the sport fighters to help them develop as young champions, to position them for the future, as they go up and get the bigger prizes, the bigger accomplishments.
Yeah.
But, again, that's what it's all about to me. I don't really invest. I don't really comment. And the reason why, because I just don't waste my time, man. That's
So with that being said, hey, listen, ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. I'm someone, I kind of take everybody's side and everything. I try to learn a little bit from everybody. And I can see both sides of it. But here's a question for you that I think you can definitely answer. You said you like to give back into the younger generation, up and comers. Give me 2 or 3 prospects right now that may still be amateur, because you do a lot of work. I don't been a slip punches show before. I don't watch you work now. So give me 3 amateurs right now that you feel like, man, when they turn pro in the next 2 to 3 years, watch out for them.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. So I want to introduce a young man. Let me tell you, this young man, he fights out of Orlando, Florida. Okay. His name is Isaiah Shirley. They call him Kid. This young man fought the other day in Plant City, his pro debut. The kid is he's young. He's 18 years old. He's electric. The kid is electric. He can fight. I am super excited for that young man's career. So excited. We were kind of working, me and his team, and I was like, okay, let me come in and help them with a couple of things. We were helping him with his social media, getting his IG right and what have you. I contacted a few of my friends like Roy Jones, LL Cool J, Edgar Berlanga. I contacted a few people, and they're all following him.
Hold on.
Stop.
Wait.
Pump the brakes, because
wait, what happened?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
Call my friends.
Yeah.
You be like, oh yeah, I call LL Cool J.
Kid, listen to me. For a young man, like I said, it's about, you can't keep it if you don't give it away. And if I can help out a younger generation fighter by putting something in his ear, by getting the boxing world to say, hey, take a look at this guy. and watch when the bell rings. You'll see for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
You
That's where the
mentioned
work comes in.
you mentioned two names, and one of them's gonna be way off topic. The other one's dead on center. Edgar Berlanga.
My man.
I
Love him.
got dragged across the coals by my partner when I was talking about his knockout streak in the first round.
You know, there's nothing wrong with what he's accomplished. There's nothing wrong with the way Top Rank or ESPN or boxing build it up, because it was exciting to watch. What is he doing any different than any other fighter? You know, there are other fighters that are knocking out people too. You know, it's just that this young man has a specialness about himself, and he shows that in the ring. And he's still growing. He's still developing as a fighter. Because he's positioned the way he's positioned, why are you mad?
Yeah, why
you
you
can't get
mad?
mad at that?
Why you
can't
mad?
Get upset. You know what I mean? He's doing him, and he's likable, and so many people stand by him. You know, he got a great team. He got Fat Joe with him. He got Terror Squad with him. You know, it's a good look on his end, you know, with his support.
Yeah, why you mad?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Why you want to give me a hard time when I was saying the same thing Damon was saying, and you gave me a hard time.
No, see, you know, it's just a young man out of New York that, you know, he reached a point of his career that all I can say as a writer is for real, the best is yet to come.
But see, that might be what it is. He's not a big fan of New York. Anything above Virginia, he's not a big fan of. So that might have been what it is. I mean,
listen. I'm not one to damage my partner's credibility on his platform, so I won't indulge into whatever he's talking about. It doesn't
what?
I will say this.
You see, you should have went in the middle, and y'all should have just faced off on each other on the show, for real. That was dope.
We do enough of that every day of the week, bro.
Yeah.
We do enough of that every day of the week. We good. But listen, I like Edgar Berlanga. I got to witness Edgar Berlanga firsthand in his first couple of professional fights over in Orlando when he was working over there with SOHK and those guys over in Castleberry. Gary Jonas was his manager at the time. So I got to see a very young, very green Edgar Berlanga. So I understand everything that you're talking about. What I really want to harp on, though, that I think Edgar Berlanga's done a great job of, he's taking a page out of not necessarily what the Paul brothers are doing, but he's taking an opportunity to expand his platform by showcasing himself as being something other than a boxer. That is important. You need star power, you need pizzazz, you need to be likable to get the big bucks. Nobody wants to see a boring fighter or a fighter with no personality. So Edgar Berlanga gets it. He's using his social media to grow his brand. That's what these fighters need to do. We all have our hangups and issues that we don't like about people that are not traditional fighters. But one thing we can't deny is marketability. You have to be likable. People have to be intrigued by you and they have to want to watch you. So yes, I wish Edgar Berlanga nothing but the best. His competition's gonna get a little stiffer, but listen, the kid's got it all. So whatever he does, good for him.
Sure, and you guys already know, Bob Berman, Top Rank, that promote him. Like I mentioned earlier, permit me to say the best is yet to come. And I'm expecting in the next year, great fights coming out of him. Him versus Steve So-Called Nelson. Fights like that, fights where they're dudes that we know, what's up? This is who we are. We Omaha. We're Brooklyn. But these guys get in the ring and it's just straight up exciting boxing. Mm-hmm. But like I said, the best is yet to come. There are good fighters out there. You notice I didn't mention any of the bigger names because we have to respect the fact and look at the reality that he's still growing. Give the man a chance to grow. Let him grow. Let him go through his process. There's no rush. You don't need to rush.
I thought before you said Edgar Berlanga, you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say Xander Zayas. I thought that's what you were going to say.
He's another one. Xander's.
And he has everything, bro. He has it all. The look. He's charismatic. He seems like a very good kid. I've never met him in person before. I want to get that done, by the way. But he looks like
I
a very
got
good
you.
kid, but he's got the
I got
skills.
you.
Okay, I appreciate it. He's got the skills to boot. He's marketable. I like that. I like what Top Rank is doing him. He can be a star. He can definitely be a star. I like him.
I shot him 3 times on Boxeo Telemundo photography, and the other day I was in the photo shoot for Top Rank with my colleague and dear friend Mikey Williams, and when we were in the
Hey, okay.
studio, Xander walked in the room, and he took off his shirt. He had his fight trunks on. I looked at him and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, he was like buffed, like
Right.
6 pack. I'm like, this kid's a baby. Look at him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he
A
looked
baby that can fight.
straight up strong. And I'm whispering in his ear on the side before he went in the fall. I was like, I better get you to sign a boxing glove before you win the titles, because he'd be like, who that Latin box? I don't know no Latin box. He started laughing. Good kid, man. He's a great kid. But all in all, listen, he's fun to watch, and give them the opportunity to develop. And you know, he's just another kid out there that's no different than any other of the young generation fighters that are coming from everywhere. They're coming from PBC. They're coming from Golden Boy. There's a lot of names we can get into, I'm sure, guys.
It's funny because you were talking about LL Cool J, and we're talking about the Paul brothers, and I'm like, man, if social media had been around back in 1988, who do you think the big fight would have been? LL Cool J versus Cool Mo D. That would have been the big fight back then.
Cannabis.
Nah, that was later. That was later.
I don't know, man.
Cool Mo D and LL they even got on the Arsenio Hall
But
show.
listen, much love to the hip hop brothers, man. LL, big shout out to him with Rock the Bells and everything my brother's doing.
That's dope.
Collaborating in Hollywood. He's such an inspiration, and for all of us that come out of the city,
Farmers Boulevard.
It's just a good look. Couple of months ago, I got to sit down with Eric B, bro, from Eric B and Rakim.
Whoa!
Eric B. He's a boxing promoter that has done a show in Orlando, Florida, a couple of months back, and he's going to return. I'm going to get you both the hook so you guys can come and be ringside and meet Eric and collaborate with them, because listen, they're wonderful people. And they're trying something and they're doing something, and it's all about supporting them. Definitely doing that.
Well, you talked about inspiration.
I gotta save up my duck is to buy me an MCM jacket so he can sign it.
Oh,
Pay
wow.
Baby.
Wow.
Yeah, for real?
We doing that. I got you, man.
Listen.
Oh, no doubt.
I wish I still had my Disco 3 jacket, but I had to let that go. That most people don't know who the Disco 3 were, so I won't even go into that.
People know the Fever in the Bronx.
Listen, now that we here,
hold on.
Walk into this.
Hold on.
Man, talk to us about the B-boy era, man. Talk to us about how all that started, man, because, you know, you told me this story before, but for my partner, for people that don't know, man, give us a little bit of back history on that, man. You was one of them guys.
Well, yeah, you know, again, I was a young man growing up in New York, and you know, started b-boying with a bunch of kids in the street. And you know, one evening I went out to the Bronx, and I battled a couple of dudes from Rocksteady crew. I went down and battled them to try to get on the crew. Yes, I tried to get on the crew, and it was in Skate Key Roller Rink on Arlington Avenue in the Bronx.
I know what that is. Okay.
And when I rocked, and then I started pop locking and doing my thing and what have you. You know, the president Rocksteady came over, bro, with Hot Feet Rockers. They were there, Flex and Buck 4, and a lot of them came over, and Legs was like, yeah, bro, yo, you down with us, man? And Crazy Legs put me down. So from that point on, you know, it was an experience. It was a life experience, you know, being able to go to all the young clubs back in the days, the Roxy, you know, so many different clubs in New York.
Man.
This old club that a lot of dudes don't even remember. It was called First Class in the Bronx. And he used to rock in First Class. He used to b-boy over there. And there's just so many places. Skating Palace Roller Rink. We used to b-boy over there. It was just so many places.
But it took y'all outside, and not just the state, but the country.
Yeah, well, even that, you know, we would discovered in so many ways. And again, they did things so unique. It was just so unique how they did stuff, and it was no selfishness. It was just basically unconditional, because it was something that was blowing up, and everybody was doing what they had to do, and the crew was so big at the time. It split up where Legs and Kuriaki and Buck Four and Ken Swift and everybody went to one tour, and then you had Mr. Freeze and me go to South Africa, and we did different things. And again, the experience itself was totally incredible. That was
That's
back
all.
in '84, like 36 years ago or something.
Listen, that's like
You
hip
know,
hop's version of the Alvin Ailey dancers. Cause I
but yo, it
heard,
was it was something, man. It was
yeah,
something, like I said, because everything came out back then, and back then hip hop was different, and it was just
way different.
it was way different.
It had a
And
purpose.
a lot of the crews back then. I mean, I remember rocking to, like, oh my god, some old crews, bro. The Crash Crew. I used to rock to the Crash Crew. I used to rock to a lot of old school crews, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun growing up doing that. You know.
You've done a lot of inspiring things, man. When you talk about your days in b-boy, as a b-boy, and then getting into this, and I mean, you're full. Believe it or not, these are not your full time jobs. You actually got a full time job on top of these other full time jobs. But then you
Yeah,
mentioned getting into sanctioning.
that is correct. A couple of years ago, I decided, I sat down with some friends of mine that owned the sanctioning body, and a transition was made. I was voted as the president of that sanctioning body. I made a decision in my career as a boxing writer, as a boxing photographer. Let's go back. I mean, we're talking 1998. 1998. This is what I showed up. Look at that little Kodak. That's what I
Wow,
showed up in Madison Square Garden with, this little freaking Kodak camera
it
in
actually used film,
1998.
right?
I
That used
showed up. It's like a little card. It has a little
okay.
digital card to it, but I mean, the quality, no, not good. But again, that's what it was for me. I didn't have a big, expensive camera. It was just starting from the beginning, trying to do little videos and doing my thing. And it just grew and grew and grew through the years. I spent a lot of years writing, dedicating myself, doing everything I love for whatever reason. Again, it's not important for anybody that establishes yourself to do what you love and do it with your passion. You continue to do it. Don't listen to the haters. Don't get involved in that. Don't get caught up in that. Don't even worry about that. Just focus on you and enjoy what you do, man.
So
You know.
for the layman, the casual fan, you hear them when they introduce fights. Michael Buffer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. They talk about this fight is sanctioned by. Tell us what you do. Tell us what the sanctioning body does.
The sanctioning body is a traditional sanctioning body. It's been around boxing for many, many years, and I had the opportunity a couple of years ago to take over the business, and I took over the business of the company, and we had to just look at everything that it has accomplished to that point, and I look at a history of champions that have won the National Boxing Association NBA belt. Roy Jones Jr., one of our alumni, is that in his prime defended the NBA belt about 7 times. And Brad Jacobs from Top Rank was managing Roy at the time and was, without question, taking care of everything, sanctioning fee, hotel, airfare. It's a business. So Roberto Duran won our belt in Panama. He won our NBA belt. He's recognized, of course, as one of our alumni as well. Nate the Galaxy Warrior Campbell won the
Okay.
NBA belt. He's also one of our champions. There's just the list goes on and on and on. We have female champion The young Naomi Vasquez, she won our belt, younger in her career.
She's been
Um,
on here. Yeah.
so we're excited of everything we've accomplished. When we started to establish this new era, this new chapter of the NBA, the one first thing that we decided to do was redo the belt. And what I mean by redoing the belt is when you look at the belt, you can see for yourself it's clean. It looks good. It's a beautiful belt. It's
It
a beautiful
is.
strap, you know.
Yeah.
And we wanted to put this out there for the fighters,
I
you
like that.
know, that would have the opportunity to win a belt and the next chapter of your young generation of your career, start behaving like a champion, doing things in the community that would support you being a champion. And that could be many things. That could be turkey drives and Thanksgiving. That could mean helping out Children's Cancer Center. That could be just so many things you can get involved with.
You said
You know,
that, and that kind of struck a nerve with me, in a good way, um, because a lot of people feel like that the WBC makes you a great champion, or the WBA makes you a great champion. But before I really got into boxing, I knew Muhammad Ali. As far as I knew who he was, I knew he was the world champion. He was the one that introduced me to the belt because of just what he did outside the ring as well as inside the ring. Larry Holmes, again, WBC didn't mean anything to me at that age, but the fact that Larry Holmes carried a belt and he was the world champion. So when you say that, oh my goodness, that speaks volumes. The fact that they could take an opportunity to help build the brand of the of that championship and build their brand at the same time.
and
That's a
again, it's interesting because again, it gives us as the NBA the opportunity, and it also gives the promoter, the manager, everybody involved with the athlete the opportunity to now evaluate further to see if the fighter himself can conduct himself like a champion, can do the right things. If it comes to a place where a year goes by and the fighter just okay, I got a trophy, I won a belt, have it. I'm keeping it real. I have it up in my shelf, but I don't defend it. I don't want to defend it. Then after a certain period of time, it's written in our bylaws. If you can't defend it, then we have to strip you from the belt and vacate the belt, and move on, and look at the next number one contender, number two, maybe the fight for an eliminator, the fight for that belt. So it's basically it just keeps on going. It doesn't stop. And that's important because that's part of learning. Well, if he can't conduct himself and survive doing it like this, how's he gonna do it with the bigger sanctioned bodies?
So who's your
So
champion? Who are your champions now?
got a couple of them. Joey Cusimano from Rhode Island. Joey Cusimano, he actually lives in Virginia. He's our heavyweight champion
Okay.
right now. Let me see. Michael Williams Jr. He's a welterweight champion with us. He's our intercontinental champion. Won our belt. He's a young man that's very highly talented.
Out of
Uh,
Carolina, right?
yes, he's out of Carolina, which I will
Yeah.
be back up at the Carolinas on the 22nd of May. One of our champions is defending his NBA belt, and that's early. He's Levante Early's going to defend his NBA belt. So we have a lot of young guys that have taken this opportunity and basically proven to themselves that they can step in the ring and battle and bite down on their mouthpiece and win a fight, win the title. And we're very, very proud of them for that, you know. And we try to do that by putting them out there on social media and putting them out there all over the place. And it's so gratifying when you see a fighter accomplish something and watching them do it in front of their children, their friends, their family, everybody. It's just a great feeling.
Well, we can't let you go without seeing. You showed us earlier a collection of
Oh,
esteemed memorabilia. Now I love that NBA belt. I do. I would like
thank
to.
you.
I would like to challenge my co-host for that title. It would be
Nice.
the NBA version of the OMF, the old, yeah, championship. But we would love to. We'd love to badass. I could wear it on the show. But you had some other ones you were showing us.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, we got the WBO, which is right here. That's the WBO World Belt. Beautiful
Man,
WBO. And of course, big respect
Damn.
to the
I know,
WBO
right?
champions. Listen,
Yes,
there are a
sir.
lot of WBO champions. We could talk about them. I'm fans of Joshua and all that, but
Boo boo.
my number one pound for pound favorite WBO champion for Landbox Sports, Damon Gonzalez, is Terrence Bud Crawford. That's my number one
Okay.
champion right
Whoa.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
Crawford,
That's
big
legit.
shout out.
Yeah.
Terrence, man, he paid to me. He paid his dues. 147. I'm not getting into the whole, cross the
Yeah.
street stuff
Side
and
of the
all
street.
that.
Yeah.
Just what he's done and what he's accomplished is superb. Is absolutely superb, and he's not done yet. There's going to be a lot more that he's going to be doing. And of
Wasn't
You
course,
get no argument from us on that side.
not at all.
yeah, you got the WBA right
Okay.
here.
Dang.
It's Gilberto Mendoza's belt,
That's yeah, man.
WBA. Much
Look at
love
that.
to Gilberto Mendoza and of course the WBO Paco. Paco is a very good friend of mine, and
Mhm.
through my colleagues and my employer as a contractor for Latin Box Sports, I work with Felix Duto Zavala and Ruben De Jesus and the team at All Star
All
Boxing.
star.
We
Shouts
just
out to
have
All Star,
such a
man.
listen. We when I say it, I mean it. We just have such a beautiful team. We sacrifice and do so much to put those shows out, and they do just an amazing job working with Mr. Honda from Taken Promotions in
Over
Tokyo,
in Japan.
working
Yeah,
with
that's gonna be dope.
working with Bob Urim from Top Rank. Just so much work. People don't see behind the scenes.
Listen,
The work that's involved. It's just really incredible.
that's where we met Mark Reyes Jr. in his debut fight for
Just
Yeah.
All
saw Mark
Star.
the other day, man. Just saw him
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other day
Mark
on the
is
Plant City show.
he's affiliated. Yeah, he's I know they're working with Gary Jonas and those guys out in Plant City. So shout out to Mark and the Reyes and the movement they got going on. Um, but yeah, bro, that was an interesting point. Listen, I want to give a shout out to the Tuto because I like what All Star Boxing has done. I like their business model. I like kind of how they move. I'm sad that because whatever happened at the a la carte pavilion or lack thereof, that we won't see a lot of their fights here in Tampa as much anymore. But man, listen, big respect to them and the platform and the fighters they've cultivated and what they're doing. And I think that move in Japan is going to pay real big dividends sooner than later because that isn't. I'm not going to say it's an untapped market like China, but they get overlooked sometimes. And I think for them to tap in, especially with the smaller weight classes, we have a lot of competitive guys from like 122 up to like 147. That's dope. So I think what they got going on in the All Star and the partnerships they're making are pretty dope.
It's definitely far from none. And, very excited and very happy again, like I said, to work with them. And I translate this so, you guys, you heard this from me and my perspective and how I look at it. And when I'm bouncing from one show to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, and we have a common ground. There's just a lot of shows. I mean, we got Lank going in Orlando. You got
Mm-hmm.
T&K, my man up in here in St. Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, he's doing his thing. There are just
Shout out to
so
him.
many. Undisputed Anthony in Orlando. There's just so many different promoters, M&R down in Miami, Revolta, my man Revolta doing his
Yeah,
thing.
Henry's back
You
in the game.
know,
I saw that.
there's
Yeah.
just so many, and I look at it as when you think about the armed forces and you think about the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marines. There's a lot of soldiers. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of military out there. There's a lot of um, conduct. There's a lot of events, and this is great for boxing all the way across the board because big shout out to Patrick Cunningham, the director of the Florida Boxing Commission, and a big shout out to Timothy Shipman.
Yeah,
You
Tim
know,
Shipman. Yes, I got.
The Florida Boxing Commission guys have really, under the Governor DeSantis, opened the door for boxing and MMA in a big way in Florida, and everybody has jumped in to work. You know, Eddie Hearn has come from London. He's done a lot of work, and make no mistake about it, this Saturday is gonna start like super early, and we have to keep in mind of that, be conscious of that on the zone. And the reason why, because they don't want the folks in London to be watching the fight at 2 a.m. in the morning. You know, so they definitely gonna want Canelo and Billy Joel to make their ring walk, you know, at an early time, whereas England can see the fight. So these are things that they have lined up. You know, it's not like back in the day when we watch a Mayweather fight and here we are approaching 1 a.m. and Floyd's not in the ring yet. It's different. This is different.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because it's not just the US here, it's the world watching, you know, so there's a lot involved in it. And that's something, because I've made the mistake one time. Me and my partner, Alex Melendez, we went to shoot a fight for Matchroom, and we show up at the Hard Rock at the Qatar. And when we got there, they were already on bout 2. We were like, no, we missed
Wow.
2 bouts. We missed 2 bouts.
Wow.
Why? Because we didn't pay attention. We
Mhm.
didn't pay attention. So, you
It's a
know,
new day.
those are just some of the things. And it came to the reality that, you know, they had to start early so London can see the fights. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind.
One quick request before we let you get out of here. I got one request for you, bro. If you can, please plug us in with Mikey. Mikey takes some great photos. I'll be interested to see or hear some of the things as he from his perspective, bro. Mikey does some great work for Top Rank. I'm a fan. I follow on Instagram. Beautiful pictures. Beautiful pictures.
Hey, listen, Mikey's a great guy. He's one of those Jedi's I talked about. You know, the guy that's in the sport that he loves what he does, and you know, I've learned so much from him. You know, there's a lot of photographers out there that I've learned from, I've spoken to. The list goes on and on and on and on. But I'll tell you what, Mikey's a very, very close friend of mine. He's a dear friend, and you know, I love him to pieces. You know, he just does a great job with Top Rank, and like I said, behind the scenes, there's just a lot involved. It's not just going ringside and clicking a camera, guys. It's
No.
just a lot involved.
Well, when we first got in to the sport with the fighter share, yeah, I learned a lot about taking that camera up near the ring and the do's and don'ts, whether you're doing stills or video. So you're right; it's so much more than people would ever understand unless they got in it. Hopefully, we haven't run you away and you'll come back again and bring some photos
Oh,
next
no
time. We
doubt,
can
no
actually
doubt, guys.
we can show
Yeah,
people
definitely.
that aren't familiar with your work. They can see your work. But we appreciate you coming on. We really do. It's been a long time coming, and I'm so glad that my partner was able to reach out to you and you were willing to come on and grace us with your presence. How can they follow you on social media?
Thank you, guys. Definitely. Listen, it's an honor to chop it up with you guys, and let's do it again, man. I would love to do it, man. Just keep on punching, no matter what, bro. Keep on punching.
I got to win
You
that
know.
the NBA belt. I got to. I
What's
need
up,
that
man?
on. I
Let's
need
talk
that.
about it. Let's talk about it. Let's match
Okay.
you up a fight with Ivan, bro.
Oh
Ivan,
yeah.
go, yeah, you and Ivan
Yeah.
go at it. Yes, yes.
Yes. Look, we can even wear
Yeah.
we can wear bare knuckle wraps. I don't. That would be.
Nah, don't do that, man.
Shout out to Ivan, but yeah, I get in the ring with
That's my
Ivan.
dude. I love him. I just gotta mess with him, but I love him, man.
Ivan look at me like, come on, man. We could both
You
get a
can
belt.
follow me at Instagram and Twitter at Latinbox Sports, LATINBOX Sports, one word. On Facebook at Latinbox Sports, and also we're on YouTube. The Slip Punches Show is at Latinbox Sports. And again, we appreciate you guys, man. You listen. I appreciate everybody that supports and watches my show, and I watch their show, and I'm very supportive of so many shout out to so many people out there in the game that, it's just a great community, man. We have such a wonderful community, and we try to teach the younger generation, man. Listen, it could be done, man. It could be done.
Yes.
Just keep on punching, keep on doing what you're doing, because in all sense of the word, we're all champions. We're all champions in what we do. We just have to keep on doing what we do, man. That's important.
Amen. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you so much. And
Thanks, guys.
if we can do anything for you, man, just let us know. Hey, since you have a huge audience, we just want to let you know that we're working on something to expand our show. We're going to be auctioning off the Badger over here.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
No,
first, yes.
no, we're not auctioning me off.
Yes,
That's
we
not
are.
what's
We've
happening. Don't listen to this dude, bro.
no,
Don't listen to this
we
dude.
already got this thing put together. I got my Cash App out there, so we were gonna do a silent auction, but I'm thinking it might be good to do this publicly so the women can see, and because we're equal opportunity, women and men, if they show up, can see what they're bidding on. Now I'm only promising dinner. Now, whatever they do beside dinner, that's on them. But he did say he'll keep his hat and glasses and shoes on. So,
My man.
and any kind of tips you can give us, like if places to hold this, if we would like, maybe
Why
at
he do you like that, man?
Because he ain't got nothing else to do. Nothing else to do. He's bored.
Oh, I'm not. I got this thing set up. I mean, we tried to get him to fight Amanda Nunes. He wouldn't take that fight. So the auction is the next best thing. The auction, but he said he wants Mike Tyson. Do you know Mike Tyson?
Do I know Mike Tyson?
Yes.
When I worked for Don King some years back as one of the writers.
Wait a minute. How did you not tell us this?
Yeah, years ago. I got introduced to him through a baseball player, a friend of mine. I did some security work for them for about 3-4 years, and we went to Madison Square Garden, and Felix Tito Trinidad was fighting in the Garden, and I got to meet Don, and from that point on, it was like I fell in love with boxing, bro. I mean, I always liked boxing, growing up in New York and my Hector Camacho stories and stuff like that around the neighborhood, but that's watching it live that changed everything. It just like I didn't want to do nothing but boxing. Yeah, it's what it was all about. At that time, we're talking Michael Buffer was going in the ring. Women were outside trying to get in, wrapped around the building just to see Michael Buffer, not the show. Just to see him. And he would go up in that ring with his young look, and he'd be like, "Man your battle stations." It wasn't even get ready.
Okay.
Yeah, Let's Get Ready to Rumble wasn't even there yet, bro.
Wow.
Dang.
Bob had him going in the ring, and he was saying, "Man your battle stations." Yes.
Wow.
And he started
Okay.
introducing the fighters, and it was different. It was way different, So watching him now, the elegance, like you'll see him Saturday night when he steps in the ring in AT&T Stadium and he starts doing this thing, and it kind of gets me emotional watching guys like that, knowing and seeing what he did and where he is, and it's just incredible, man. It's incredible. You get to see the journey. You live through the journey, and what you do you. But there's just so many. And Mike was different back then. He was different in the sense that he was very quiet, but when he talked, you just gotta get out of his way. When I covered Tyson and Lennox Lewis in Memphis, that was a tough one, man. That was a very tough fight week for all of us. And Mike, you couldn't get near him. You couldn't stand next to him because he was very I want to say focus on the fight, but you couldn't get near him. You just couldn't. Media, nobody, So it was fun to watch. It was definitely fun to watch.
Well, my partner has #WatchThePod. the pod. My partner has said on here he would not fight Amanda Nunes, but he would get in an octagon with Mike Tyson for a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fight. Mike would have to put on a gi.
Oh, wow.
So I think Mike will be into that. I think Mike would take him up on that.
Nah, choke Mike on the jack.
See?
Choke Mike.
See?
He don't know what's going on.
See what I'm talking about?
Get him in the leg lock or something. He gonna be done.
Can you help me?
Yo.
Can you help me make this happen?
Walk around and act like you know, boy.
Indeed, bro. Indeed. Listen, man. No, listen. It's all hyperbole over here, bro.
You, boy, he gonna be on your ass. Boy.
Get it. Yes, we need this. We need it for the NBA championship. Yes.
It is all hyperbole on this end.
No, he has mentioned to other fighters he would fight Mike Tyson in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fight. So don't let him back up now. Your feet gonna start burning. Hey, we'll give you the proceeds. We just need to make this fight happen.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on, man. I appreciate you, man.
All right, bro. Listen, man, you be safe out there. Take it easy. I'll tap in with you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
All right,
appreciate
peace.
you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so long.
Ladies and gentlemen, boy, that was Damian Latin Box Gonzalez, and he gonna help me get Mike Tyson in front of you.
Man, tell Mike to bring his old ass on. What's up?
See, that's what I'm talking about. But it's all hyperbole.
Man, you know I gotta sell the show a little bit, bro. But you know I ain't worried about Mike. You see how I'm looking right now?
Right, because Mike ain't
I'm
there.
not concerned about Mike.
That's because Mike ain't there, and it's the cabbage kicking in. If Mike was there, hey Mike, what's up? I got some water. You want to mix some tea? Hey Mike. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're gonna see. Tough guy. Man, that was a great interview. We gotta have him back, man. We gotta have him back. We need a fighter share championship belt. I knew I should have gotten one when I had the chance.
Man, might still be in the works, bro. You never know.
That would be nice. Give it to the fighter that we think had the best year. Just send them the championship. And a sanctioning fee to go with it.
Yeah, we need a little kickback.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, family. Man, thank you all for joining us. Have a great weekend. Shout out to my mom, my pops, my wife, my daughter. Shout out to Damon for giving us that great interview. Listen, still shout out to my cousin Alan, who prayers are with you. He's going through some things right now medically. And that's it, bro.
Well, like my partner say, man, we appreciate everybody in Fighters Nation for rocking with us today. We'll see y'all on Sunday when we get to talk about all the good fights that y'all got to watch over the weekend. And that's
starting
what we do.
tonight.
We get to talk about how much we know. We get to talk about how much you don't know and how much we do know. That's what we do on this show. In the meantime, we'll see y'all, man. Make sure y'all spread the love out there. It's crazy. And be ready to see us on Sunday. Fighters Nation, we out here. We'll see y'all. Peace.